Whether you're an aspiring leader, an established executive, an at-home mom, or a young person wanting to grow and learn, Marsha Martin will share actionable strategies for greater happiness, success, motivation, creativity, productivity, love, health, contribution, and fulfillment. Welcome to Talk This Way with your host, Marsha Martin. Marsha will guide you through the basics and unravel the ABCs of communication, leadership, and success by taking the wax on, wax off approach to communication mastery, ensuring that the skills you acquire will make you unstoppable. So now, please welcome the host of Talk This Way, Marsha Martin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marsha Martin, and welcome to my show, Talk This Way for Success. This is being live streamed by Bold Brave TV. We're going to do 24 episodes every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Eastern, and you can watch by going to boldbravetv.com, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a clicker that just says, Watch This Live. Or you can go to my show page if you scroll down on the Tuesday link down to 5 o'clock. It's going to be live streamed on lots of different channels, iHeartRadio, Apple, Roku, just so many things, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, now known as X. So I'm really excited, and I must say I'm a little nervous too. So I've spent my life being in front of live audiences and talking to thousands and thousands of people and leading hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of workshops all over the world. But this is a first for me to have a live stream show, and I'm afraid you're going to have to bear with me. And as I get used to it, I'm sure it'll get better and better. So first of all, I want to tell you how I got here. I got an email many months ago from a television producer in New York who I love and adore, Mr. John Kelly. And he said that his AI analytics had discovered me, and that his AI analytics had told him that I should be a host of a program that they were looking to produce. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So I said, well, what did AI tell you? And he said, AI said that you were great on stage, that you had lots and lots and lots of content. And that's all true. And then he said something that touched my heart and made me want to do this show. He said that they had found out that people who had done my courses even 45 years ago were still involved and still raved about me and still said how much value that they got in their life from being in my trainings. So here I am, live streaming. And I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that you participate with me, and I hope you get as much value as the people that I've trained, which I've trained over 300,000 people now around the world personally. And my whole life work has been to teach you how to be a more effective human being. And that's what the show is all about. It's about you being more effective. It's about you being a communication master. It's about learning the laws of the universe, how your mind works, how your emotions work, the world that you live in and the laws of that universe, what your body has to do with everything. And I hope that you'll enjoy it. I'm going to make it as much as possible simple, easy, and fun. I know lots of times, and I've done thousands of trainings over the many, many years I've been involved with the transformational leadership industry. I know sometimes it's very complicated and, even though profound, a little bit uneasy to understand. And I take pride in thinking that I can share very complicated concepts in a way that you get them very easily, that you have fun while you're getting them, and that you can apply what you learn practically in your life, and that it has an impact on your life. I like to say it's kind of like learning to read. I'm going to teach you the fundamentals of being an effective human being, of being a master at communication. And those fundamentals are really like learning to read. You know, when you learn to read and you learn the ABCs, Didn't seem like it was that technical or profound, and you probably didn't even understand what one letter had to do with another. But you learned how to pronounce the letters, and then pretty soon, voila, you learned that if you put a couple of letters together, it spelled a word. And that was pretty much of a breakthrough and an insight and changed everything. And then words you realized could become sentences, and sentences could become paragraphs. And pretty soon you were reading Hemingway. And now you walk into libraries or you're online or you grab a book and you don't even think about it. You're an expert reader. And that's what I want to do on this show with you. I want to teach you the fundamentals so that by the end of the 24 episodes, you'll have had the basic but very profound concepts and principles of how life works, how you create miracles, how you manifest, how you get in touch with your own personal power, how you access it and how you utilize it, how you cause the world in which you live um, to create a future for yourself that you really desire. So that's what I'm planning to do on this show, and I'm really grateful that you're here. Okay, I guess first of all, I should share a little bit about me. So I've been doing this work my whole entire life. I started when I was really just a young girl. And like I said, I've trained over 300,000 people around the globe already. I feel so grateful for that. I've made such a difference in people's lives, and I hear from them on a regular basis, even from years and years and years ago. And it just is so satisfying to know that something I've said or something I've done or something I've explained has made their life even better than it was before. Right now, I do workshops and seminars, some of them public workshops and seminars. And you can go to my website at marshamartin.com and find out about the workshops that I'll be leading. Mostly, though, I do corporate events. I train corporate executives in leadership and championship performance and relationships and communication mastery and success. And I also do individual coaching. So I have some people that I coach in life. I'm a life coach. And some people I coach in business. I'm an executive coach as well. You can find out all about that when you go to my website. I know that the team here at Bold Brave TV will give you some links of how to get a hold of me. You can feel free to email me, Marsha Martin, Marsha at marshamartin.com. Or you can go to my website and sign up on my newsletter so that you get all my information, and you can schedule discovery calls with me there as well. So just a little bit of information about my background. When I started coaching, there was no such thing as coaching. In other words, there was coaching in sports. We had lots of sports teams. It was in the mid 70s. I know that's a long time ago, and some of you probably weren't even born then. But I'm still here, and people who are very young still enjoy learning from me, and I'm grateful for that as well. But at that time, there were no life coaches. There was no executive coaches. There was no coaching industry. And I know for some of you that may seem weird, but we were just discovering that actually championship teams, like sports teams, had coaches. And I worked in the early years with Werner Erhard and Thomas Leonard and Jim Selman to create the coaching industry. And I was on the research team that got to interview coaches in universities that had successful sports teams to find out what it was that a championship team had in common to be a championship team. And actually, that's where the coaching industry started, was in the mid 70s. So now I know there are lots of programs you can take and you can get certified to be a coach. But I'm certified because of the fact that I've been doing it for over 50 years. So there you go. I work in corporations. I go into corporations and I teach them how to change their culture. I teach them about leadership and success. I teach them how to build teams. I teach them how to get themselves out of being so siloed And I teach them how not to play the blame game, but to take total responsibility for the mission and align themselves behind the mission so that they can all produce miracles and have breakthroughs. And my corporate clients are really fun for me. I love working with them. I've worked with Hard Rock International all over the world in their hotels, in their hotel division. I work with Warner Brothers, with some of the famous directors and um, actors and screenwriters and producers on projects at Warner Brothers. I've worked with McCain Foods, Dannon Yogurt, Avion Water, Capital One, Intercontinental Hotels. So I've been around a bit and very successful in creating teams that produce championship. And some of the things that are kind of, I don't know, I'm thinking when I write this and when I talk to people, what do they want to know to be able to trust me and to be able to want to participate? So these are my ideas of what you should know. But you let me know what you want to know by emailing me or by going to my website and setting up a call, and I'd be glad to tell you anything that you want. I was the co-creator with Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, of the Transformational Leadership Council and the Association of Transformational Leaders, which is both fabulous organizations and associations of some of the greatest and most well-known, renowned authors and transformational teachers of our time. I also was the person that organized the film shoot for the movie, the phenomenon DVD movie, The Secret, with Rhonda Byrne. She called me and said she wanted to make a movie about the law of attraction. And since the Transformational Leadership Council was being held and I was running that particular company at the time, we had our meeting in Snowmass Village, Colorado, where I lived at my country club. And so I went to the general manager of the country club and I said, Becky, I need a room. There's a film crew coming. We're going to make a movie. And Becky said, there's no room. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait. We have to have a room. I've got a whole film crew coming. They're coming. There's no doubt about it. So we went around the whole hotel and all the residences, and we found one office of one of the executives at the hotel who had been on vacation. And little did he realize what was going to happen to his office when he went on vacation. But we took this tiny, tiny little office and all the furniture in it. We took everything out and we put it in the hallway. And we pulled in a film crew, and they were sitting up against the wall while they had their cameras while they were shooting that movie. So that was fun too. I originally was trained by my aunt, who really wasn't my aunt. She was a distant cousin. Aunt Gladys, we called her. We loved her so much. She was an esoteric astrologist, and she studied metaphysics, and she did healing. I guess you could say she was a shaman or a sacred healer. And I was only 19 at the time. I interned with her when I was 19 and 20 and 21. And she taught me how to meditate. And I've been meditating ever since. She taught me about all of the energies and how energy works and all vibrations and all chakras. And she taught me metaphysics, and she taught me astrology, and she taught me how to heal. And at the time, because I was so young, I think I just said, oh, great, let's do this. I didn't question it. And she taught me to study the world religions and the great philosophers, because she said that God was the same always, and people had different ways of holding and understanding God. So if I wanted to be an effective human being and able to communicate well with everyone, I should know how they understood God, and I should be honoring the way that they would hold God. And so I studied the world religions, and I studied great philosophers. And then my life kind of took this way of being that things just flowed. And that's what I want to teach you too, how to create a situation in your life where your life flows, where things are moving in the direction they should move for what you are dreaming and what you want. And at the time, I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I guess because I was so young and I was just saying yes to so many things and seemed like the right thing to do to meditate every day and seemed like that's the way life was. It just gets better and it flows. And as a result of that, a big miracle for me happened when I was a very young girl. I met a man named Werner Erhard, and I was barely 21, and he was leading a seminar, and it was his first seminar in transformation, in learning how you work or be as a human being, and learning to be responsible and learning how to create reality. And it sounded like a great thing to do. I thought, that's about aliveness. I'm for aliveness, so I'd like to be in that training. And I took the very first training he ever taught. There were 20 of us in that training. And that training was the precursor of what was called EST, Erhard Seminars Training, which became the Landmark Forum. And in my work with Werner, who became my personal mentor at the time, I became the senior vice president of EST, and I became the head of the registration and communication division. And I was on the board of directors, and I was there for about 10 years. And from inception till the time I left, we went from 20 graduates to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of graduates all over the world. And I was an integral part of that. And I spent all of those years, I can tell you, those of you who are out there doing seminars and workshops, I spent 24/7, 7 days a week in training. Either I was in a training on the weekends, or I was studying with Werner during the week, or I was leading guest seminars myself in the evenings. And it was an incredible learning experience for me. My mentors became were at the time, very famous people. And so I was lucky to be able to train at their knee. Buckminster Fuller. I traveled with him all over the United States. I learned from him. I sat with him. I talked to him. He taught me personally. And of course, Werner Erhard, who started EST, was my mentor for the almost 10 years I was at the EST organization. And also people like Jerry Weintraub, one of the greatest producers of all time in Hollywood, did so many movies, taught me how to make movies and taught me about Hollywood. Also, Warren Bennis and Peter Drucker, two great leaders in the leadership and success world of business. So I've had the opportunity and the fortune and the just amazing benefit of having great mentors in my personal life. And I've had some pretty extraordinary projects. I got to work in Hollywood with Jerry. So I've worked in Hollywood with people like Jerry Weintraub, Steven Soderbergh, George Clooney, Paul Attanasio, and sat there and created projects with them and seen what it's like on the back lot and been in Hollywood making movies with some of the greats. And I was in politics for a bit with Vice President Mondale and Chuck Manat, who was the chairman of the Democratic Party at the time, and also Robert Strauss, who was the ambassador to Egypt and also was one of the Democratic chairmen. So I've had a lot of different experience in a lot of different areas where I've been able to apply the things that I know and the things that I've learned. And I think all of that is what I want to bring to you and what I've learned from all of those things. So I know we're going to go to a commercial. And as soon as we get back from the commercial, I'll tell you more about the show and what we're going to do on it. And I'm your host, Marcia Martin. And this is Talk This Way for Success, coming to you streaming live from Bold Brave TV.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense Radio Show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hey, welcome back. I'm your host, Marcia Martin, and this is Talk This Way for Success, being live streamed by Bold Brave TV. Thanks for coming back after the break. And I'm so excited. A couple more things I wanted to share with you before I get into what the show is about. And that is, I know it sounds like sometimes when I talk that my life is perfect because I have traveled all over the world and I've created big companies and I have many, many, many friends and I've had enormously fabulous and amazing experiences. But I want you to know this. My life is just like yours, I would suppose. There's ups and there's downs. And I've had lots of downs. I don't want you to think that because of what I've learned that my life doesn't have downturns. I've had a divorce and it was painful and it was heartbreaking. I've had companies that have fallen and I've lost all my money and had to start all over again from the very beginning. And I've lost my reputation at times as a result. I've had people that were so dear to me and I loved so much die at an early age. In fact, my stepson lost his life when he was only 16, and it still hurts my heart. And I've had broken up relationships and my heart broken from people that I was so in love with that weren't in love with me. And I've also had people that I thought were friends and they betrayed me and went behind my back in order to get something that they thought that they should have without me. And it crushed me and I was defeated for some time. I think the difference is this. With the things that I've learned, and I've been so lucky to learn them when I was young, that I was able to go through those kinds of experiences that we all have in such a way that they helped me and uplifted me rather than defeating me and taking me down. And I've always ended up on top. Not because it wasn't painful and not because it wasn't hurtful and not because it wasn't uncomfortable, but because I had a way of seeing the world and knowing how the world worked so that I could flow through that in such a way and consider it a gift and learn from it. And those are some of the concepts and principles and laws that I'm going to teach you in this particular show. I'm really excited to have this show. I've always wanted, as I'm in the last quarter of my life, wherever you are, I work with really young people and I work with really old people. But for me now, the purpose of my life is to give away my wisdom and to make it valuable for the world so that other people can gain from the lessons I've had. So I'll be teaching all of that and how you get through it And I just wanted you to know my life isn't perfect. You know, my brothers and sisters and I argue all the time, so they're the first to tell you that I'm not the greatest person on earth, and my life isn't perfect. Um, Also, I don't have any children of my own. I feel like I have thousands of children because I've trained so many people and people have been with me for so many years and I've been coaching for so long. I feel like a godmother to so many, if not a mother. In fact, four young, beautiful women in Toronto I consider my daughters. And they're not really my daughters, but they came to my workshop, each of them at different times between the time they were 9 and 15. And now they're in their late 30s. And so they've grown up with me, and I feel like they're mine. So I know what it's like to feel the love of a mother. I've also taken in two abandoned young girls from the time that they were 8 until they were 16. So I know what it's like to be a mother when you have to get them off to school and their grades aren't good and they lie to you and you know you don't know what to do and they're hurting and you want them all of those things. But I don't have children myself. I'm an Aquarian. That's my zodiac sign, if that means anything to any of you. It's the age of Aquarius. And I live in Florida, which is okay, not against Florida, but I'm a California girl, so I kind of miss California. And I spent most of my life in Colorado, in Aspen and Snowmass Village, so I feel like that's my heart home. And I miss Colorado and the mountains. And Florida's flat. It's really flat. I'm looking out the window over the water. I live on a lake here, and it's flat. There, you can see for a long way because there's nothing to stop your view. And that's a little bit odd to me, for sure. Okay. Oh, and one thing I really want to get across is I love animals. I've had two Labradors, a female and a male, Gallagher and Summer. I had them for almost 16 years. And I now have cats, and I've had lots of cats over the years. And most of my animals have died in my arms naturally. I've never had to put an animal down, and I've found a way to talk to them and hold them as they pass. And it's miraculous. I love my animals so much, so I'll be telling you stories about my animals as well. Okay, let's talk about what the show's about. The show is set up and dedicated to catapult you into greatness and to create an understanding of how things work so that you can be a masterful communicator. And with those two things, getting in touch with your own personal inner power and being able to language and speak in such a way that can create reality, then pretty much you can have anything that you want in your life. And I'm for manifesting dreams. So if you've got a dream, start thinking about it. We can make it the purpose of this particular show that you accomplish those things. Let's see. I think the engineering crew wants to go to a commercial. So I'm going to let them do that. And I'll be right back. And I'm going to go through all the points of the show with you and what you're going to do and what we're going to be and what we're going to have. And this is Marsha Martin, your host of Talk This Way for Success, live streamed by Bold Brave TV.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. You know, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Marsha Martin, your host. This is Talk This Way for Success, coming to you live streamed by Bold Brave TV. Okay, let's dive in and get a few chunks of stuff that you need to know in order for this journey that we're about to partake together on. And I'll be, over these 24 episodes, be giving you tips and tricks and technology and data and information and exercises and things to practice that will allow you to perceive the universe in a different way than you currently do. And my purpose is to really shift the way that you think. So let's start with this. There's a personal power that you each have, and it's an inner power. And most of us tend to automatically look outside of ourselves for the answers rather than within. So I'm going to teach you how to get in touch with that inner personal power and how to access it, and then how to utilize it to create with. Because it's not what's outside of you that's most important. Outside of you is where the strategies and the actions that you take will happen. But what's inside of you is the universe and the world in which you create. And so 80% of what you have in your life comes from your inner work rather than your outer strategies or actions. Strategies and actions and language line up because human beings are congruent. So what you say and what you do always lines up with who you're being. And there's a championship mindset. So you can have lots of different kinds of mindsets. The thing I want to work on is I want you to be brilliant in life and have breakthroughs and mastery. So I'm going to be teaching you how to be a champion in terms of your mindset so that you can produce championship results in the world. First of all, I want to say that there's 3 people or 3 faces that human beings consider who they are. The first face that we all have is this pretense. We pretend who we are when we're with people. We pretend to be confident. We pretend that we know what we're doing. We pretend that we're lovable. We pretend that we're really loved. We have a pretense that is who we are that we put in front because the second face is who we're afraid that we are. So we pretend we're confident because we're afraid that we're not. We pretend we're okay because we're afraid that we're not. We doubt ourselves. And then there's a third face, and this is the key to it all. The third face is who you really are. Not the person you're pretending to be and not the person that you're afraid that you are, but who you really are. And what's so interesting is that who you really are is exactly what you're pretending. You really are totally able. You really are beautiful. You really are perfect. You really are wonderful. You really are brilliant. You really are perfect. You really are that. But the difference from when we're pretending to be okay to when we experience that we're okay is totally a different experience. So, what happens is the way you get to be in touch with who you really are, your total ability, your total perfection, your total connection with the rest of the universe, from which flows a source energy that comes through you that you can create with and bring into and have reality be created as a manifestation of your intention. Whoa, that's so exciting and so wonderful. Well, the way you get there is you have to drop your pretenses and be right smack and dab in the middle of who you're afraid that you are. And that's my work. My work is getting you through the fears and having you see the things that you're afraid of in such a way that they disappear. And over the 24 episodes, that's what I'm going to be working on with you. Those are the blocks and the challenges that you have in front of you that stop you from manifesting all of the things that you really want and that you can produce and create. And when it happens that you get in touch with the fear and you're able to let go of it, which we'll get through that piece too, and you get in touch with who you really are, everything changes. Everything. And that's what this show is about. It's about you finding out who you are, waking up to who you are, being able to operate from where who you are lives, and be able to manifest and create all the things you want in your life. So I consider it's best to explain with something that Einstein said. I'm not Einstein, and I'm not going to say it as well as he did, of course, but he said that everyone has a way of thinking. So if your thinking is here, then your result will come out of that thinking or that mindset or those assumptions to produce a certain kind of result. So the result always starts with who you are as a thinking. It's not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but you also be a particular quality of thinking. That's what your mindset is. It's the assumptions that you live from about how you have been told or you think or you believe that it all is, how it works, what it means. And we all have those beliefs and assumptions that we got when we were small. Nobody, when we're small and 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and a big person, mom, dad, whoever, comes to us and says, this is the way it is. You don't, when you hear that, you don't say, really? Well, that's an interesting way for you to have it. I understand that's the way you want to look at the world, but for me, I have a different perspective. No, you don't say that when you're 4. You say, okay. You accept the truth as if it's so. And you take on a belief or an assumption about how it all works. And then that becomes the way that you are as a thinking. It's where you come from into the world. And what Einstein said is when you have a certain way of thinking, it's going to produce a certain result. The result will come out of the thinking itself. Now, if somebody wants to change their results, what they usually do is try to fix the thing that they have as the result in the first place. In other words, they focus on the result itself. And what happens is they try to change it or do something to it or make it better or change it or add to it or correct from it. And they're focusing on the result. But Einstein said, if you want a new result, you don't change the result that you have. You change the thinking that you are being. And if you change that thinking to create a different way of thinking, that will create a new result. So my work with you over these next weeks is to consider how you think now and to change or shift that mindset so that it's lined up with what you want to produce in life, that your results are really resonating from who you're being. And we don't really look at who we're being because we just consider that's the way it is because, gee, we must have had the one parent or the two parents of the 8 billion people on the earth that happen to have the right answer. That's a little silly. Think about it. So that's how mindset works. We're going to work on your mindset. We're not going to work on changing the result that you have. We're going to create a new mindset that will automatically produce a new result. The other thing is, think of it like this. You're at a horse race. Now, I used to live in Kentucky, in Louisville, Kentucky, and so my ex-husband and I would always go to the Kentucky Derby, and I've seen lots and lots and lots and lots of horse races. The interesting thing about a horse race is that all of the horses start at the same starting point. They all come out of the gate together. However, they end up in 3 different positions. It's always the same. If you've ever been to a horse race, you'll notice it. There's a couple of horses always in the very back. Then there's this big pack of horses in the middle. And then there's a couple of horses, maybe 2 at the most, 3 out in front. Now, if you look at the whole field all at once and you see all the horses together, you think it's the same game. But if you put a circle around the few horses in the back, and you put a circle around the pack in the middle, and you put a circle around the couple of horses in front, you realize you have 3 games going on. And there are 3 games in life. The guys in the back, they're in the game called lose. Now, I could teach you how to lose. There has to be certain rules or you won't be able to lose. It's really tough to lose. You have to do things in a certain way. I have to tell you this story. I have a friend called Squirrel. I hope you're out there, Peter. So Squirrel and I were in Kentucky and we were running a 6-mile race together. And I came across the finish line and I was waiting for him and he never showed up. And he never showed up and he never showed up and he never showed up. And finally, this woman comes up next to me and she happens to be a reporter for the Courier-Journal, which is the big newspaper in Louisville, Kentucky. And we start talking and I say, I've lost my friend. I don't see him. He's not over the finish line yet. And we were laughing. And they have, if you've ever run races, you know this, they have a police car in the front of the race and a police car in the very back. And all of a sudden, I see 2 or 3 people right in front of the police car, and one of them is Squirrel. We called him Squirrel because he kind of looked like a squirrel. His real name is Pete. So anyway, he comes across. He is the last one coming across the finish line. And I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm sitting with this reporter saying, that's my friend. And he comes over, and Squirrel's really, really funny. So I knew he should have a heads up that this is a reporter. So I said, hey, Squirrel, this is Robin from the Courier-Journal. And he just goes right into it. And he says, wow, that was really hard. And she says, what? Losing. I almost didn't make it. I almost didn't lose. I found for a minute there was somebody right in back of me. And I really had to strategize how I'm going to let them go in front so I could lose. So you just have to know that there are rules to losing. There are. I'm not going to teach them to you. Now, that middle game is called improvement. It's how you get from the back of the pack to the front of the pack. You may think they're in the same race as the horses in front, but they're not. They're really in a different race. And improvement is not a bad game to learn how to play. And most of you and the people that I work with know how to improve. We look at our past, we consider what we did, we correct from that, and then we get a little better, and so we improve a little bit. And so it's a very important game to have a skill set for in your toolbox. I'm not putting improvement down. It's a great game, and you should get better at it, and I can teach you that too. But it's not championship. Championship, the 2 or 3 horses in front, or the 2 or 3 people that you know in life who have actually produced miracles, breakthroughs, have everything that they want, are playing a different game than improvement. They are playing championship, and there are different rules to that. And that's what I'm going to teach you in this series or this show, is how you produce miracles. Okay, we're going to do the basics, the fundamentals, like I said, when you learn to read. I'm going to give you a principle and then a concept, and I'm going to talk about something, and then by the end, we're going to put it all together. So it might not make sense on its own, but just if you can trust me, it's only 24 weeks. And get to the end of this particular show, I promise you that we'll put it all together. So, and along the way, you'll be able to apply it as you go too. The other thing I want you to know is there's laws in the universe. And we know some of them and we follow some of them, but we're not aware of the others that really make up a difference. So, for example, I know probably you know about the law of gravity. In fact, I probably can count on that you now organize your life around gravity. You don't fight with gravity because you know gravity is always going to win. You don't go on the 10th floor of some building and say, screw gravity. I'm going out the 10th floor window. I'm so tired of going down the stairs or taking the elevator. I don't have time. I'm going to go out the window. You just don't do that because gravity will win. And gravity is kind of one of those things that's really right in your face. You know, if you screw around with gravity, you could hurt yourself. So you organize your life around it. Well, there are other laws in the universe, things that are so. And many of those laws have to do with how your mind works, how you create and manifest, how you communicate, how you connect, how you take something from a dream state to a real state so that you have it in the universe. There are laws that lots of us haven't been told. And fortunately, I just feel so lucky. You know, I started learning all this stuff when I was really 15, even before I met my aunt. When I was 12, I read the book Atlas Shrugged. Don't ask me why a 12-year-old is reading Atlas Shrugged. Even I didn't know. But it changed my life. I mean, Dagny Taggart. I wanted to be Dagny Taggart. And I realized what was possible, that I could have anything I wanted. And it changed something inside of me. And then I attracted to me the teachers and the mentors and the people that needed to teach me those kinds of laws that I needed to know to be able to create in the way that I've created in my life. So we're going to go through a lot of those, and I'm going to give you exercises on each of them. And there's some things that you need to know this particular episode so that you can be ready for this journey. And we'll do that after I get back from the commercial. So this is your host, Marcia Martin. I'm so pleased to be here with you. This is Talk This Way for Success, live streamed by Bold Brave TV. See you after the commercial.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Hey, welcome back. I'm still Marsha Martin. I'm still your host. This is still Talk This Way for Success, and it's still live streamed by Bold Brave TV. Okay, one piece of information I want to make sure that you understand before we get to the end of this episode, and then some things I want you to do between now and next week. The way you learn is different for your mind and your body. You have a body, you have a mind. We'll get to your emotions later, but let's just take how you learn. Your mind learns through understanding. So I can tell you things, and you can read things, and you can understand them, and then you can understand it in your mind, so your mind has learned. But your body is connected to your mind. It's not the same thing. You have a mind and a body. They're connected, but they're not the same. And your body learns differently. Your body learns through practice. Just like if you learned a new sport like skiing, or you learned to play the piano, you wouldn't start off playing Chopin. You wouldn't just have somebody tell you how to play the piano and you would understand it, and then you would sit down at the piano and start playing. It doesn't work that way. You have to practice. You start with chopsticks, and you practice and you practice and you practice, and then you get to another song and you practice and you practice and you practice. Your body has to learn through practice. We call it embodiment. So I'm going to be giving you some exercises in between each of the episodes each week so that you can practice certain things. And I have no exercises this week, but I do want you to prepare to get ready for this journey that we're going on. I want you to come up with a list of things you want to create for yourself. Could be something you want to be, could be something you want to do, could be something you want to have. And I want you to write it down. And if possible, I'd like you to get a journal. Go out and buy a new journal. So you have one journal that's just for this Talk This Way for Success show with Marsha. And I want you to put your list in that journal and then bring it with you to each session. And then we'll do exercises, and I'll have you write some things and journal some things and think of some things, and we'll practice some different ways. And then we're going to go through all of these kinds of principles and concepts and different things for you to learn so that we can put them all together at the end. So do that between now and next week. And remember, you can find me on my website. Go to marshamartin.com. And Marsha is MARCIA, marshamartin.com. I have a website. You can find out all about me there. Go to the About page. You can also find out about my coaching. You can find out about my corporate training and my executive retreats. You can find out how to get a hold of me. You can please do sign up for my newsletter or to get in my database so that when I send out information on a regular basis, usually about once a month or so, that you're involved and you hear from me and you can find out about what I'm doing. So do sign up for the newsletter. And you can also schedule a talk with me if you want a discovery call. If you want to find out about coaching or find out about corporate work, you can schedule a call with me in my calendar, and I can give you some personal time and some information. The other thing is you can email me, marsha@marshamartin.com, and feel free to ask me questions or tell me what you loved about the show or you didn't love about the show that I can correct. Give me some ideas about topics you would like me to talk about, and also issues or challenges, problems, things that you want help with, things that you want to share with me, things that you want to know about me. Just give me as much information as possible so I can serve you the best. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for being with me. This has been a stressful week getting ready for this because, like I said, I'm not used to this format, but I'm really thrilled that you're here with me and that I have this opportunity to serve. And do be in touch. Do come next week. At any time, you can go to the boldbravetv.com website and you can scroll down on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock and click onto my show page, and all of the episodes will be there in archives so you can watch them again or watch them for the first time if you missed one. And I want to tell you how honored I am that you've come, and I hope to give you great results and to be an important part of your life. This is Marsha Martin, and I'm hosting this new fabulous TV show, Talk This Way for Success, which is live streamed by Bold Brave TV. Thank you so much. You've been such a delight. I really appreciate all of you. Good night.
This has been Talk This Way with Marsha Martin. Tune in each week and discover that the effectiveness of your communication dictates the quality of your relationships, the profits of your business, the results you produce, and your overall success in life. Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Bold Brave TV network.